All right, y'all. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Malachi Wright. I am a third-year dental student at the University of Maryland School of Dentistry. And in today's video, I'm going to be comparing my first and my second year of dental school and which year I thought was tougher, D1 year or D2 year. And I've been through both of them now. I just finished my second year of dental school now. And I will say that they're both different in many ways. I have some notes here that I will be referred back to on my iPad. So if I look down, don't get too worried about that, because I want to make sure that I'm providing you all with skills, not only how to survive these first 2 years of dental school, but also how to thrive through these first years of dental school. For those who don't know, I am a third-year dental student at the University of Maryland School of Dentistry. And on this channel, I talk about day in the life of a dental student. I talk about working while also being in dental school. And I also talk about things outside of school. So if you're all interested in any of those different things or any of those aspects of life, please be sure to like my video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please be sure to comment if you have any comments, questions, or concerns. But yeah, with that being said, guys, let's jump straight into what this content will be discussing today, which is going to be which year of dental school I thought was tougher, D1 or D2 year. I would say holistically, D1 year is your foundation building year. And this is going to be the year where you start to immerse yourself in some of the basic science courses. It's very similar to undergrad, except it's just more intense. So you're taking the anatomies, the physiologies, the microbiologies, all the other different ologies, and basically you're learning all that you learned in undergrad, but it's just faster and it's more content and more classes you're expected to take at one time. Like, I think our lowest amount of credits that we took at any semester during our first 2 years was somewhere around probably like 25 or 26, somewhere around that range. So in college, if you're taking a lot of credits, most credits you'll probably take is like 15 or 16. So this is definitely much more than that. And they're all higher level courses as well. So the expectation is definitely there. So in order for you to get through all these classes, there's going to be a lot of exams. There's also going to be a lot of studying. And that was mostly what D1 year was about. Now, in comparison to D2 year, you're still taking a lot of courses. You're taking pharmacology, you're taking a whole bunch of other didactic courses like immunology and a few other classes, but you're also focused on a lot of lab work as well. So we took our endodontics course, we took our fixed prosthodontics course, a lot of removable partial denture and like fixed denture, like all these other different courses that you're taking that have a lab component. And for me personally, that's where I think drew the line between the rigor of D1 year and D2 year. So D1 year, if you're really good at studying, you're really good at doing well on standardized, like just tests in general. I think we were taking like maybe 2, sometimes 3 exams a week, but most times it was like 2 exams a week in D1 year. D2 year, you're still taking around like 1 or 2 exams a week, but you have a lot more lab assignments and lab coursework that is due throughout that time as well. And for me, that made especially the the fall of D2 year more difficult because we were taking a denture lab. And that lab was really specific, and I felt like the grading was a little all over the place. But of course, I mean, it's subjective because you have different faculty members grading different things. But overall, at the end of the day, I felt like just the time that required you to be in lab in order to do something efficiently and effectively was much greater than that I found in D1 year when you're taking like dental anatomy and operative. Like, those classes are relatively enjoyable. And when you're taking things like RPD and you're taking things like fix, like it's really technique sensitive. So you just need to spend a lot more time in the lab to improve your skills, rightly so. So I felt that made D2 fall more difficult than the spring and the fall of D1 year. So to answer the question, I would say that D2 year was a little more difficult solely because of the labs you have to take. Now, to parallel that a little bit though, if you are like really great with your hands, if you have like the natural ability to have really great hand skills, I think that you would do better during your D2 year overall in comparison to D1 year if you're not as strong didactically. The didactics in D1 year was definitely a lot, but if you're in a pattern, if you're used to studying, if you're used to, performing really, really well on exams, then it will be an adjustment, but it won't be as bad as trying to do stuff with your hands if your hand skills aren't that great. And mind you, like my hand skills aren't trash or anything like that. Like I'm actually pretty decent, at least from my perspective. I think I'm pretty good. But it's still a learning curve, and it still takes a lot of time, rather so than just memorizing something and learning something and having it stick that way. You have to have this mind muscle connection in order to do something and replicate it the same way every single time you do it. And that just takes time, and sometimes like you don't really have enough time to do that in middle school. So that's where it becomes a lot more difficult during D2 year. I would say in comparison to D1 though, D2 year is definitely a much more transformative year. So you're spending a lot of time getting yourself prepared to go to clinic. So we have to do assists for the D3s and the D4s who are in clinic. We're doing block rotations where we're going through like sedation, we're going through anesthesia like nitrous oxide, all that good old stuff. You're learning a lot more to help prepare you for the clinic. Obviously there's like so much more we need to know, and we will be getting immersed in that throughout this summer, but there's a lot more hands-on and like, let's just say like dental related things during your D2 year. So it kind of keeps you a little bit more motivated because you're seeing some of the practical things that you will be doing that later on that same year in clinic and for the last 2 years of your education in dental school. But for some people that does bring some level of stress too, because a lot of people are anxious about working on real life human beings. And obviously this is something that you should be wary of, but it also is something that you should try to help yourself get a little bit comfortable with before you start doing it, because you want to be confident but also conscious. And if you're overly cautious and you're not that confident, then your patients will be able to tell that, and it does not help them receive the treatment that they deserve. So all in all, it definitely is a big turnaround with, going up to the clinic floors and getting familiar with things, and, being yelled at because you may pick up something from another quad or you may do something incorrectly, and when I say yelled at, I mean like that's probably not the correct term to use, more so like reprimanded or like called out for doing something wrong. But I mean, it just happens. So at the end of the day, everyone on the clinic floor is like pretty chill and they're pretty nice people. But again, yeah, you will make mistakes, and it's fine, and you're there to learn, and most of the people up there know that. So just continue to learn that way and you'll be okay. But overall, I will say that D2 is hard mentally and physically with the amount of hours that you will be in lab and the amount of time that you have to do lab work, especially for like fix. Like you need to go in and you need to practice, and you need to continuously practice in order to improve your skills to a level to get the grade that you want to get. And mind you, grading is very subjective. So you may think something is an a professor may think it's a C. And I think getting to the point in your life where you can see your faults, make improvement, and not really like get too caught up in this aspect of, I swear like this was an A, like this should be an A grade, like I'm so upset about this. Like if you are comfortable with failing, comfortable with moving to the next point and just continuing to grow, then I don't think it would be as bad. But if you are a type of person who strives for perfection and you believe something is perfect and you're not open to feedback in regard to something that you believe is perfect, then D2 is going to be like hell for you, because that's basically what we went through every single day in lab, specifically during D2 year. I would say in terms of like hardest courses during D1, it was probably physiology. And again, that's like a didactic course. So if you can lock in, you can study for physio, then you'll be okay during D1. Neuro was kind of challenging too, but overall it wasn't that bad. I think that it really comes down to where you went to school and what your level of academic rigor is. Like, so for someone like me, when I was in high school, I wasn't in like a whole bunch of AP classes. I wasn't taking AP exams. Like, I was barely in school at all. And I think that for me, I started a little bit later in life with, finding out what my learning style was, and like really focusing on getting the best grades that I could. And, in my community colleges where I was able to cultivate those skills. But I feel like if you're a student who like probably went to a private school and you took all these AP classes and you're just used to being in school mode, then it won't be as bad for you. If you're a student that was like me, who, is traditional in a sense, but it's also not traditional because, again, I wasn't the best student whatsoever. I was able to flip a switch when I was in undergrad and at community college because of a whole bunch of other reasons. But if you want to learn more about that, then watch some of my older videos. But I think that, if you're that type of student like me, then you will have some imposter syndrome. You will feel like, everyone around you is so super intelligent because they are. But just know that you're intelligent too, because even though you had to play catch up, you still caught up. And for most of the time, you're, doing really, really great. So just continue to keep that perspective and, just continue to grind. Just put your head down, do what you got to do, and enjoy this time, because a lot of people race to the finish line. And for most people who get to the finish line, they'll tell you when they get to the finish line, it's the journey that matters the most, not so much just crossing that finish line. Like, crossing the finish line is important, yes, but it's the journey that you can really reminisce on that makes it so much better when you cross the finish line. So have those conversations with your friends, laugh about, things that are funny, and laugh about the failures that you have. Like, really enjoy that time, because those are the memories and the moments that you're going to be reflecting on. And that's what I'm really starting to get a sense of after finishing my second year of dental school, is that it's those memories that stand out to me the most, not so much the hard times or the exam that I didn't do as well on, or, the project that didn't go my way. It's more so those good times, those laughs, and, those professors that really made me feel great about myself, that really help stand out in my mind and make this journey worth it. So yeah, with that being said, in totality, if you just finished D1 year, congratulations, you got through a difficult year of dental school. D2 year is going to be a little bit more difficult, and at least for the fall at my school. But I think that overall, once you get into a pattern of dental school, then it kind of all just feels the same. It's just school. It's just dental school. You go through the motions, you get through it, you laugh about it, you have fun about it, you cry about it, whatever your vice may be, and you get through it. Because there's one thing that's not going to happen is time is never going to stop. So just continue to make sure that you focus on what is important to you, focus on the things that you need to do outside of school. Like for me, I go to the gym every single day. I make sure that I spend time with my girlfriend. I still have a really great time. I go to the movies. Like, I do things outside of school. I work, I do YouTube. So there's definitely time outside of school to do the things that you love. But also make sure you keep the main thing, which is definitely getting that Doctor of Dental Surgery degree. So with that being said, guys, I hope you all found this video helpful in terms of tips and tricks I use to help me get through these 2 years of dental school. You want to be sure to check out my video in regard to organizing your life while working in dental school. But also make sure you have like a planner, some type of online planner. Preferably for me, I like to use Notion, because having a checklist that you want to get through every single day will really help you stay on track and focused on your goals. So if you have those things, go check out my other videos. If you have any other questions though, please feel free to mention them in the comments here under this video. And with that being said, guys, I'm going into D3 year. I'm super excited to start seeing patients. The first 2 years of dental school have definitely been challenging, but they've been some of the best years of my life, if I'm being honest. I really love dental school. I really love the people in my class. And I think that life is just going really, really well right now for me. So yeah, with that being said, guys, please be sure to continue to strive for greatness. Do what you want to do. Don't let anybody stop you. If you have a brain, if you have life, if you have breath, you can do whatever you want to accomplish. And I know that sounds super corny, and I know it sounds super cliche, but it's very, very true. The only person stopping you is you. So just don't get in your way, and you'll get to where you want to go. But with that being said, guys, please be sure to like this video, comment on this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.